Hello, how is everybody doing? Let's see, welcome. We're going to talk about mindfulness tonight. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. It's Dr. Melva. Welcome to the community. If you're a longtime follower, welcome back again. If you're just joining me for the first time, thank you so much for spending time with me. It is Tuesday evening, and I did work out today, those of you who've been following me. But I did have a chance to get on here and say hello this morning, so I wanted to come on and chat with you tonight. So those of you just following me for the first time or returning, I'm Dr. Melva, your board certified radiation oncologist, and I help breast cancer survivors live their most vibrant, healthiest lives post-cancer treatment. I do that through my online coaching program, my videos, and right here, you can find me at facebook.com/Dr. Melva, DoctorMelva. All right, so let's get into it. So the other night, was that last night or the other night? I forget. But I asked you how I could serve you. I think it was the night before last. And a lot of people's answers were around anxiety and depression. So I'm going to speak to a couple of friends and see if maybe they can pop on. We could do a live interview and kind of talk about things or ways or medicines or practices that could help you with that. But one of the first things that came to mind, no pun intended, was mindfulness to overcome stress and fears and worry, aka anxiety, after being diagnosed with breast cancer. So I wanted to kind of go through a mini little journal club and share an article that I really liked that was a feature article in Cure magazine. Shout out to Cure magazine. You've probably seen this at the cancer center where you've had treatment. If not, it's a great magazine. Shout out to the editors. You can find their magazines on curetoday.com. That's CURETODAY.com. And this magazine is for patient survivors and their caregivers. So this version I think is winter 2018. So I have a ton of these, but this was a piece that I read that was very helpful for me and some of my clients. So I thought that we'd break it up into a couple sessions and talk about it. So stick around if that sounds helpful to you. All right, so the article is No Time Like the Present. And it talks about practicing mindfulness to help survivors and their loved ones overcome stress and worry. Sounds really good, right? I think it's a great start. So giving credit again to this article, just going to go kind of through it and talk about a couple things and probably break it down to a couple parts because it's pretty long and this is a very important topic. So mindfulness. So drop a 1 if you've practiced mindfulness before. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Drop a 1 if you've practiced mindfulness before. Or if you've heard of the concept, if your physician, your caregiver has ever talked to you about mindfulness, if you had it at the center where you had your treatment, if mindfulness was offered for you, drop a 1. Hello, welcome. We're talking about mindfulness. So if you've heard of mindfulness, it's been helpful for you on your journey so far, drop a 1 in the comments. All right, and if you're catching me on the replay, push hashtag replay. All right, so I wanted to kind of share this story of a breast cancer survivor. So Tolbert, a 50-year-old resident of Randolph, Vermont, is undergoing treatment for breast cancer, now stage 4, for the 3rd time since an initial diagnosis in 2001. She started taking mindfulness classes at her cancer center in 2012 after reading a flyer that touted the stress-reducing benefits. Today, practicing mindfulness is a daily part of Tolbert's life, as sacrosanct as brushing her teeth. Like, that's pretty strong that she does it as, every day, just like brushing her teeth. Being mindful has completely changed my life, she says. I can detach myself from the worry and fears that come with living with a life-threatening disease and instead really immerse myself in enjoying life's more pleasurable moments. So I love that quote to start off with because a lot of times when we learn a new skill or something that can help us, it's kind of like you start to question it, right? To say like, okay, what is mindfulness and can it really help me? And I think having a kind of a testimony or survivor story about how she practices mindfulness just the same as she brushes her teeth, almost like a ritual, is very helpful for validation because if mindfulness is new to you, no one's ever spoken to you about it before, you probably have a lot of questions, you probably have a lot of doubt, and just introducing this concept and hearing a survivor's story, I think is helpful. So the author goes on to say, and I love this part, sound too simplistic or too good to be true, right? That you could have something like mindfulness and that doubt comes in that, wait, that's all I have to do is add mindfulness and my fear and worry go away. So she talks about people that study the therapeutic benefits of mindfulness, and really it's been proven that it can be very dramatic. But the not so simple part of mindfulness is learning the techniques and how to do it. So this article is very nice. Again, if you're just joining, we're talking about mindfulness and no time like the present. So they break the article down in several parts, which I think is helpful. So tonight, let's just focus on what is mindfulness, okay? And then we'll go through maybe in another part series, the benefits of being mindful, and then learning to mind your thoughts in another series. And then we'll kind of go through some of the resources that they've offered and the ones that I think are the best to start with. Sound cool? All right. So thanks for joining. Let me know when you're here. Emoji, hashtag. Let me know if you're getting any value from this. All right. So what is mindfulness? Okay. And again, if you have practiced mindfulness before or you've heard of mindfulness, drop a 1 in the comments for me. So Dr. Victorson, a PhD director of integrative oncology at the Survivorship Institute in Chicago, says it's easier if you talk about what mindfulness is not. And I like that because we're going to exclude what it's not. So he says mindfulness is not about clearing your mind of all your thoughts and concerns. It's not a relaxation technique. It's about being present in the moment and looking at your thoughts with self-compassion instead of judgment. Okay, so that's a key. So mindfulness, as Dr. Victorson, giving him credit, is saying, is not about clearing your mind of all your thoughts and concerns, right? You're not relaxing, but instead you're being present in the moment and looking at your thoughts with self-compassion instead of judgment. Okay, so in short, it's a way of letting go the things that you can't change. And becoming comfortable with what is happening in your world right now. Okay. Is that helpful? I read that and my take on that is I like that he defines mindfulness as not being about just relaxing. There's a lot of ways you can relax, and relaxation techniques are good, but it's almost what he's saying of one, having this awareness of there are things that you cannot change, and instead of judging yourself and your thoughts, you're having these thoughts with self-compassion, okay? So here's another testimony from a breast cancer survivor, which again, I think testimonies and stories, support groups relating to women who've been through what you've been through are very helpful. So Chicago resident Kate A. admits that she was skeptical when she first started taking mindfulness classes 7 years ago after undergoing a double mastectomy to treat stage 1A breast cancer at age 33. She says, quote, "I was an avid runner and gym rat. I didn't see how sitting with my thoughts could possibly be good for me," she says. Now, McAlden, this is the 33-year-old survivor, notices a definite shift in her mental well-being when she goes too long without practicing mindfulness. She says, "A few months ago, I was overwhelmed with negative thoughts. I realized I hadn't been making a concerted effort to be mindful every day. Once I started practicing again, my spirits lifted." So they share these stories, and we've talked about what mindfulness is not. It's not relaxation techniques. It's really dealing with what thoughts are coming into your mind and having self-compassion and love instead of judgment, which is a big difference, right? So they talk about how easy that sounds, right? But in reality, and they say here that to change how you view, and not only view, but how you react to the thoughts that come into your mind is extremely challenging, right? So before I did this, I was reading through this and I was like, okay, well, let me try it. You know, I've practiced some mindfulness, but I'm not a mindfulness expert. But that's why it's good that we have magazines like this that we can all learn together, right? And I've worked with a lot of my clients on mindfulness before with different apps and resources, but it's something that you have to learn and you have to practice. So like anything, and the article goes on to say that you try to learn, for example, to play the guitar. you try to master a complicated recipe. That doesn't always go well for me. Start a new job, etc. To be mindful, it takes time and it takes practice. And I think that's important because a lot of times we don't manage our expectations when we do something, and people want to like quit too early or say it didn't work for me. But I think what's important, and that they're saying in this article, it's a very well-written article we're going over, is that it takes time and it takes practice. So don't give up. You know, you need to be introduced to mindfulness. Now you understand what it is, right? Is this helpful? Let me know. Comments, like, smash, welcome. Thanks for joining. Let me know when you're here. So again, they say, although mindfulness can simply mean focusing fully on a daily activity, such as breathing or eating, the technique is generally done through a formal practice, so a type of meditation. So sometimes they talk about having a comfortable position, closing your eyes, and noticing each breath when you inhale and exhale. But the hard part, and they talk about this, is when a thought enters your mind, okay, so let's say our eyes are closed and we're taking deep breaths in, breaths out, you know, it'd be longer than that. But what do you do, right? What do you do when a thought comes into your mind? So we talked about self-compassion and not judgment. So they give an example. So when a thought enters your mind, and the example they give is, and let me know if this sounds familiar to anyone, does that pain in my side mean that the cancer is back? Does that sound like something somebody could think? What you're instructed to do when you're in the course or learning about mindfulness is to notice it. Okay, I just thought that thought. Okay, and again, the example is, does the pain in my side mean that the cancer is back? So notice it and say, this is what fear related to my pain feels like. So you're acknowledging it. Notice there's no judgment there. And then bring your focus back to your breathing and let the thought go without judging, dissecting, or acting on it. Okay? So I think that's a pretty good example. So again, Dr. Carlson, who's quoted in the article, says the goal is to focus on the events in your life as they truly are, instead of ruminating about what could have been or what might still be, right? So instead of having a thought come into your mind and just having your mind race, right? So like, for example, let's think of the wrong way to deal with that thought, okay? So if the thought that comes in your mind when you're doing this mindfulness is, does that pain in my side mean the cancer is back? So the right way is to say, this is a fear related to the pain in my back. This is a fear related to what the pain feels like, right? That's the right way if you're learning and practicing mindfulness. The wrong way would be just to let your mind run. Oh gosh, that pain's back. If the pain's back in my back, then that means the cancer's back in my breast. And if the cancer's back in my breast, that means that the treatment didn't work. And if the treatment didn't work, that means that I have to worry about taking treatment again, or what am I going to do? Or if you see how like our brain starts running in overdrive, that's what we're working on stopping. So we're not saying completely don't have those thoughts or get rid of all the thoughts, but we're having control, awareness, and compassion over the thoughts that come into your mind. So let me know if this is helpful. Thanks for joining. Hello. Hi. Thanks for joining, Elizabeth. So the goal is to focus on the events in your life as they truly are. Again, this is Dr. Carlson, instead of ruminating about what could have been or what might still be. And she's a professor of psychosocial oncology at the University of Chicago. So mindfulness is perfectly suited for people that have cancer and their caregivers. And she talks about there being so many uncertainties. And again, I'm talking about mindfulness because a lot of you said that I could serve you by helping with anxiety and depression. And I think one of the keys is adding a practice of mindfulness. So I really just wanted to introduce the concept, talk you through it. I think this is a good article. I can't do this all tonight, so we're probably going to split this up in sections. But let me know if you're getting value. If you're watching to this point or this is helpful for you, please let me know. So what she says is that it's easy to let thoughts spiral negatively out of control, kind of like the example I just got, that you start with one thought and then it turns into 100, like super fast, like going from 0 to 60 in the car. And being able to control that, acknowledge that, but instead of letting that one thought turn into hundreds, it's better to be aware of it, have self-compassion, and acknowledge it for what it is. So the pain in my back, does that mean the cancer is back? Acknowledging, hey, this is what fear around pain feels like. This is what I'm thinking about, okay? So she talks about making the decision to mindfully let undesirable thoughts go, and that can make a remarkable difference in how you experience life. So, wow, that was a lot. That was only the first section. What is mindfulness? So, all right, Elizabeth said, what's the app you mentioned? So there are a few apps that they give for resources in this article. I wish I could link to this article. So they have a lot, and I think I'll probably go through those later, but one they mention, let me see. I'm trying to see if there are any that are free. Okay, let's start with this one, Insight Timer. So it offers more than 7,000 guided meditations, plus courses, bells, sounds, and a timer. The cost is free. And that site is Insight Timer, INSIGHT Timer, TIMER.com. Okay, so that's one of the sites. So in the next series, I will delve into the benefits of being mindful. And then we can talk about learning to mind your thoughts and then go through some of practicing mindfulness at home. So I hope you got value from this. I know this is a little different than what I normally do, but I think it's just helpful because so many of you are going through stress and worry and fear and anxiety and depression, and mindfulness is something that you can learn, and there are tools to help you learn that can really help you hear, right? Because the mind is a very powerful thing. Okay, and the more we can control our mind, the more we can control our body. So I hope this was helpful. Hashtag replay if you catch me on the replay. Again, we're talking about mindfulness. And we just went over tonight, what is mindfulness? So if you missed it, watch the replay. And the next time we get together on this topic, we'll talk about the benefits of being mindful. All right, until next time, I'm Dr. Melva, your board-certified radiation oncologist, and I help breast cancer survivors live their most vibrant, healthiest lives post-cancer treatment. And I do that through my online coaching, my videos, and I hope tonight was helpful. We're starting a series on mindfulness. Today we talked about the benefits, we talked about what is being mindful and what it's not. So if you're just joining me and you missed it, go back and watch the replay. Hit me up on hashtag replay. Until next time, I'll see you right here on facebook.com/Dr. Melva, DoctorMelva. Good night. Mwah.